What if everything you believe about how billionaires spend their money is completely wrong, shaped more by social media, movies, and viral content than by reality itself? Where flashy cars, luxury watches, and massive mansions create an image that feels true, but hides a much deeper and more strategic way of thinking about money? What if the biggest difference between ordinary spending and billionaire spending is not the amount of money, but the intention behind every dollar that moves? Because from the outside, it looks simple. We imagine extreme luxury, constant upgrades, unlimited consumption, and a lifestyle that never stops expanding. But behind the scenes, the reality is very different. The way billionaires use money is not just about enjoying it. It is about controlling it, multiplying it, and turning it into systems that continue to grow even when they are not actively working. Today, we are breaking down the real difference between what people think billionaires spend money on and what they actually prioritize, so you can clearly see the mindset shift that separates consumption from true wealth creation. 10. What we think. Expensive cars and what they do. Strategic assets first. Most people imagine billionaires constantly buying luxury cars, upgrading to the newest models, and filling garages with symbols of status. Because that is what is most visible and most talked about online. Creating the illusion. That wealth is defined by what you drive. But in reality, most billionaires prioritize assets before liabilities, meaning their focus is on investments, businesses, and systems that generate income, while luxury items like cars come later and often represent a very small percentage of their total wealth. The key difference is simple. They make money work first, and lifestyle comes after, not before. 09. What we think. Massive mansions everywhere. What they do. Controlled real estate investments. From the outside, it feels like billionaires are constantly buying huge mansions in multiple locations just for luxury and comfort, creating the idea that real estate is mainly about lifestyle. But in reality, much of their real estate spending is strategic, focused on properties that appreciate in value, generate rental income, or provide long-term financial advantages. Even when they own luxury homes, those decisions are often calculated, not emotional, and represent a small portion of a much larger investment portfolio. 08. What we think. Designer everything at what they do. Minimal decision fatigue. We often assume billionaires spend heavily on designer clothes, constantly upgrading their wardrobe to match their status, but many of them actually simplify their daily choices to reduce decision fatigue. Instead of constantly thinking about what to wear or how to present themselves, they standardize parts of their life so they can focus their energy on higher-level decisions that impact their businesses and investments. This shows that true wealth is not about constant upgrades. It is about protecting mental energy for what matters most. 07. What we think. Constant luxury travel and what they do. Purpose-driven mobility. Luxury travel looks like a major part of billionaire life. With private jets, exotic destinations, and high-end experiences, creating a picture of constant movement and enjoyment. But behind the scenes, travel is often tied to business, networking, opportunities, and strategic meetings that create long-term value, not just temporary experiences. Even when they travel for leisure, it is often structured in a way that aligns with their schedule and priorities. 06. What we think. Spending freely without limits in what they do. Calculated allocation. It is easy to assume that billionaires spend money without thinking because they have so much of it, but in reality, most high-level wealth comes from careful allocation, where every major expense is considered in terms of return, impact, or long-term benefit. They may spend large amounts, but those decisions are rarely random or purely emotional. They are aligned with a bigger strategy. 5. What we think, buying status and what they do, buying control. From the outside, luxury purchases look like a way to show success. But internally, many wealthy individuals focus more on control than appearance. They invest in things that give them control over their time, their environment, and their opportunities, such as businesses, systems, and teams that allow them to operate at a higher level. Status is visible, but control is powerful. 4. What we think, working less because they are rich in what they do, building bigger systems. There is a common belief that once someone becomes extremely wealthy, they stop working or reduce their efforts significantly. But in reality, many billionaires shift from working for money to building systems that produce money. Their work becomes more strategic, focused on decisions, expansion, and long-term growth rather than daily tasks. This is why their wealth continues to increase even after reaching high levels of success. 3. What we think, spending on luxury first and what they do, investing first, spending later. Most people think wealth allows you to spend freely first and invest later, but billionaires often reverse this order completely. They prioritize investing, building, and growing their money first, and only spend on lifestyle after their financial systems are strong enough to support it without risk. This single shift in order changes everything. 2. What we think, money is for enjoyment. What they do, money is a tool. For many people, money is seen as something to enjoy, something to spend, something that brings comfort and pleasure. But for billionaires, money is primarily a tool. It is used to create opportunities, build systems, solve problems, and generate more money. Enjoyment comes later, after the system is secure. 1. The real difference versus creation. At the highest level, the difference between what we think and what actually happens comes down to one simple concept: consumption versus creation. Most people focus on consuming money, spending it on things that provide short-term satisfaction, while billionaires focus on creating systems that generate money continuously over time. This is the core shift that separates appearance from reality, and understanding this difference changes how you see money completely. Now you can clearly see that the biggest gap between ordinary spending and billionaire spending is not income. It is mindset, strategy, and the purpose behind every financial decision. Most people will continue focusing on visible luxury because it is easy to understand and easy to desire. But a small number of people will start thinking differently, focusing on building, investing, and creating systems that grow over time. So the real question is simple. Are you spending like what you see, or thinking like what actually works? If this changed your perspective, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next deep breakdown.